Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another edition of Inspirate Business, the show that's here to inspire you, to empower you, and to enlighten you. And as each week we have on our red hot couch, we call it, an inspirational, impactful, and influential person. And today, we have none other than Yusuf Essa. Yusuf, welcome to the Inspirate Business Show. You are somebody that I have always watched very in an intriguing way. Your meteoric rise. I know we've been social media friends more than we actually met each other, but just watching you and the marketing that you do and your challenges as well that you've been through. And, it just comes as somebody that is just playing at the highest potential. So what we want to do over this next hour is to get to understand behind that, behind the image, behind the marketing guru, behind the success of your business in real estate, which you started, I believe, in 2007. There's obviously a story behind there, Yusuf. And where did this story start? Maybe let's start there.
Okay, firstly, Yusuf, I want to thank you. Thank you for having me here this morning. Jazakallah, thank you for the opportunity for me being here today. So, Yusuf, let me start by saying, we in property for the last 15 years. We started around July 2007. I started my career as an entrepreneur about 35 years ago.
Wow.
At the age of about 14, 15. Left school, worked for a boss, and soon after started, a hot dog stand, started my business. And made my debut as an entrepreneur. So about 34 years ago. Been in various businesses. I've been in FMCG, I've been in confectionery, I've been in, supermarkets, been in cell phone stores, Vodacom stores, cash and carry. So I've been in every different business that you can think of. And about 15 years ago, we made our debut in real estate. And alhamdulillah, it's been a very good business. So it's turned out to be a very good business with the help of Allah. And but all praise to Allah. We've been very resilient in our path, but truly blessed. Alhamdulillah, everything. All praise to Allah.
That's quite a story. Like you can sense that entrepreneurship is in your blood, right? That of trading is in your blood. Now you say, is it circumstantial in the sense that you grew up in Lodium?
I'm Lodium. I'm a homeboy from Lodium.
Lodium, right?
Yeah.
And you say you started a hot dog vendor business. Was this whilst you were at school? And where was this?
Well, so, I must have been about 14, 15 years old and decided that I wanted to leave school. I was a bit big for my boot and thought that, I came from a family that's lots of entrepreneurs in our family, all business people. And I thought that I could do this myself too, So I went to my elder brother back in the day and said, listen, I want to leave school. My mom was a widow.
What standard were you in at the time?
Standard 8.
Okay.
And my mom was a widow. My elder brother, Rafiq, took care of our entire family. And I went to him and I said, listen, I want to leave school and I think I can do this on my own, So what would you do? I said, look, I'll get a job. So my first job, I worked for a scrapyard for about 150 rand a week. Worked there for a few months, made a little bit of money and decided that I'm going to start a hot dog stand. And so outside our local cafe corner, outside Civic in Lodium, we started my first hot dog stand, went into a cafe thereafter. And soon after that, went into supermarkets. I had a car showroom. I did quite I've got a vast experience in being unstable.
Yes.
So, so
isn't that the word unstable, isn't that what is synonymous with entrepreneurship?
Absolutely.
Right? Because of the risk factor, right?
Absolutely. So I failed all the time, I became very experienced at failing. And went through the journey, went through the grind, used to have days, used to hustle. We come from, in Lodium, I lived in Carmine Street, which is very close to White Blocks.
Okay.
And
That's the famous white blocks.
famous white blocks, yeah. And we were in a very challenging situation. Although my brother Rafiq did a very good job of keeping home fires burning.
And how many siblings are you?
We are 4 of us.
Okay.
So it's my brother Rafiq, there's the eldest, Afzal Iqbal, and I've got an eldest sister as well. So I'm the baby of the house. And so did that, and then got into real estate about 15 years ago. And we started initially very small business, wanted to have a small, humble business running from our garage at home, and before you know it, we managed to grow the business and take it to international platform. So alhamdulillah, we're very grateful for that.
And look, we're going to talk a lot about the Chopra business, and it's, as I use the word, meteoric rise, because it has been a meteoric rise since 2007. And interestingly, at a time when most people were getting out of that type of business, would have advised you not to get into the property business, you dived into it. And you mentioned something, the word or the phrase you mentioned when we were off air, is that you ride into the wind, against the wind, rather than, or swim upstream. Where's that mentality coming from?
Yusuf, I've always been the one that's always walked against the wind. And in 2015, when we decided to start Chopra as a business, my late wife worked for an estate agency for a good few months before we started off Chopra. I was in the FMCG and cash and carry business at the time. And we decided that while I'm downscaling and selling out, our retail stores to pursue our estate agency idea, that she'd work in the industry and get a little bit of experience, and we'll then slowly get into it. And that was the idea. So started the business, and when we started the business, it was a perfect storm. We were in a very pessimistic climate, like we are today, where people were all negative about things happening in the country. It was the crux of the world economic crisis.
Yeah, 2008 was, I think, then that whole crash,
correct,
the financial crash.
Consumer Protection Act. It was a perfect storm. And not many people were positive about what's going on in our country, just the way we are today, the way we have challenges with load shedding and all that we have. So, there was a lot of negativity in the market, and we decided that, listen, we're starting this thing and we're not going to fail. I have lots of friends, lots of family members that discouraged us that, you're going into this business right now. Why would you want to go into property right now? And, who's going to buy? And we took a very logical approach. And, as South Africa, we're short of a lot of homes. I mean, as we speak, South Africa is short of 3.5 million homes. People need a roof over their head.
That's your way? Is that the figure?
Back in the day when we started, it was 4.2 million at the time. I think, we've now, as we speak, we've got South Africa short of 3.5 million homes. And, as with economics, supply and demand. When the demand is high, and the supply is low, prices go up. So we just took that logical approach, and people need a roof over their head. People need a shelter. When you decide, end of the month, you get your salary check. Before you decide whether you're going to be using Nescafe Gold or Nescafe Classic or Recoffee, the first thing you do is you pay your rent or you pay your bond.
It's true.
And we took that approach, and people will always need a roof over their head. I mean, you're simply not going to live in the street. So that was the approach that we took. And we focused on it. Yes, we were challenged. Absolutely. Lost a lot of money in the process. You paid a lot of school fees. It's not easy to establish a brand. Many people look, and you open up anybody opens up a business, you need to have the experience. You need to establish the brand. You look at the return on investment, and first 2-3 years, you're going to go into a cash flow negative before it goes into a positive. And went into that with that mindset. So paid some school fees, lost money on years on end before we started going into a positive cash flow. We then, took a different stance in our business, where we decided that we wanted to be people of service. We wanted to empower people within our communities, as well as previously disadvantaged communities. So we started off our academy of learning to teach people to do what we knew how to do and introduce more and more people to the real estate sector, because it is a sector that lacks a lot of transformation. There's not many Yusufs or Ibrahims or Fatimas or Kidibonis or Sipos or non-Klantlas for that matter,
Yes.
And back in the day, it was even worse. 15 years ago, just mostly an Annelies or a Johan or a Bertus or a or a Michelle that was in the business. So we looked at this and we wanted to capitalize on that. Firstly, we believe that obviously there was money to be made. Obviously, I mean, you won't go into business without money, being the
of course, that being the driver,
Yeah, so that was the driving force. And then we decided.
Look, we there's a lot you can hear Yusuf so passionate about the industry that he's in. And he has created a very successful business. But I think the lesson that's come out of this segment for me is that, and I think for the viewers out there as well, and I mean, you can share this in the next segment, is that it's a tough journey, right? Yes, you've now ridden the wave, but as you said, negative cash flows, that has an effect on your emotional state. You start hearing the naysayers again that said, friends that told you, why did you get into this industry? Then you think, maybe I should go do something else. So this is the life of an entrepreneur. And we are so blessed to have this real entrepreneur, true entrepreneur on our hot couch. Let's explore Yusuf's story even further. Let's delve even further after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, where we have our very special guest on our hot couch, sponsored by Essa Collective in Kramerville. This hot couch that really, I think that couch itself brings out the best in people, because they just share their story, and that's the idea. Why do they share their story? And I think what we also have to acknowledge as Inspirate Business is the courage to come onto a platform such as this and share your story. Because there are many successful people that don't want to share their story. And we were again speaking at the break about how important it is to share, because that lesson that you went through, or the entrepreneur has been through, Yusuf, like maybe somebody out there is at that same place where you were at that time. And just the one word that you may say or something that you put out there just inspire somebody to go out and go and make. And you can change the trajectory of a person's life just by that. I guess that's something that you've also had mentors and so on.
Yusuf, it's funny you say that. I think in our community, especially in the Muslim community, you very seldom have people that are bold enough to go out there and speak about their story. And purely because of maybe being out of the eye or being undercover or low profile. But I think many of us forget the importance of telling our stories, because there are people out there that are going through the very same challenges that we went through. And to be able to be that person who could probably motivate or inspire somebody to take that step and take that leap when they need to, So I think it's important for us to do that and be able to share our stories with people. I mean, I've been very bold in doing that, and sometimes a bit too bold. But I think it's important to tell your story to people, because you can make a positive difference in people's lives. And I think that's everyone's plot. I think, if we could leave people better off than we find them, that would be the ideal situation.
Look, I think if you were not so bold and you were not so active again in your marketing, social media, I probably wouldn't have known you. And you wouldn't have been sitting here. And maybe somebody out there who wants to get into property, who wants to learn about property. And I mean, this is something that I encourage also the viewers, is Yusuf is so much. I believe Chopra, through yourself and your initiative, have trained over 6,000 people. Is that correct?
Yes, we've trained about just over 6,000 people since we've started our Academy of Learning. So, Yusuf, when we started our business initially, it was just a very small business. It was a husband and wife duo. My wife was the brainchild of this business. She always motivated me to say, listen, let's get out of retail. And retail was detail, we had a lot of responsibilities, and said, listen, let's do this. And we got a nice small business. You and I will just do our thing. We don't have to worry about staff and overheads and, infrastructure. Let's do our small thing. And, I sat there for a small while in that space until I couldn't contain myself any longer, and I needed to grow this thing, And I wanted to also empower people and say, here's it. We can share this business model with people, introduce people to the sector, expedite and ignite transformation in the real estate sector. And
because this was dominated at the time, 2007 was dominated by the big brands, right? Like Pam Golding.
Absolutely.
And it was, the reality is that it was an industry that was white owned.
Absolutely.
Predominantly.
So the industry back in the day, there was big five brands that the same brands that initially are the people that were instrumental in establishing the estate agency affairs board. So the industry was dominated by people that lack color, if I'm going to call it. Okay. And we looked at this and said, if we can take advantage of this opportunity. Remember, back in the day, we couldn't, as Indians or non-whites, we could not even own property in this country. You had to buy property and make use of a nominee.
Oh, yes.
A white person used to be a nominee. You buy the property and they would be a nominee for you. You had to pay them a fee in order to own that property. And we're not talking so long ago. I think I remember those days very clearly.
Yes.
Today, when you talk about kids, they have never seen the world that we come from.
Yes.
So for us to have been instrumental, we engaged in initiatives with the Estate Agency Affairs Board. I remember, at the time when we started the Academy of Learning in our franchise program, I met with the CEO of the State Agency Affairs Board. We presented to them and said, listen, we want to do this. I had a discussion with Minister Lindiwe Sisulu at the time, and said, listen, we've got this idea and I want to expedite transformation and I want to induce the masses of this country to real estate. And this was my idea. And she made a call to the Estate Agency Affairs Board for me and said, listen, Yusuf's got a good idea and let's work with this, let's run with him. And I'm glad that I had those opportunities, because, it gave birth to a totally different business model out there. The way real estate, the way it operated and the way we do it is two different scenarios. It's a whole different ballgame today. We've got agents that work in townships that don't operate with a car. They use a taxi and they sell property. They do rentals, they do sales, they do auctioneering. And, I think it makes us proud to see people out there that we have introduced them to those wealth creation opportunities, And that's an important thing, A few years ago, I remember we were doing a road show and we had one of our agents, I'll mention her name. The lady's name was Lucy, and I met her in a church. And, we were presenting to an entire audience. And, Lucy came with a CV and she was looking for a job. And she said to me that, I said, Lucy, you're looking for a job. What would you do? Would you think you'd be able to sell property? She says, well, look, if you teach me how to do it, I'll do it. I can do anything. And I said, Lucy, what do you? She said, look, I'm unemployed at the moment, but I can do anything. And I said, Lucy, if I teach you how to sell property, you think you can manage it? She says, I'll definitely try. One of our most successful agents, she's a award-winning agent with us at Chopra. Makes us deeply proud. How many
years?
She's probably with us for about 7-8 years.
Wow.
And when you see somebody that comes in with a taxi and then you see them driving out with a Mercedes-Benz, it makes us proud. So I think our business is more than the money. Yes, it's a profitable business, and yes, thank God, and we're grateful to Almighty Allah. He's blessed us with the opportunity, and we've achieved financial abundance. Alhamdulillah. But more than that, it's been more rewarding for us to make a positive difference in people's lives. And I think this was my plot. It wasn't just about establishing a brand. When we started our Chopra, we wanted to be different. And we wanted to say that, listen, we're not just taking a capitalistic mindset. Yes, you want to go into business and you need to be in business to make a profit.
Of course.
And that's important. But more than that was important to us to be able to empower and part with that knowledge and help people, and teach them how to fish. And instead of giving out fish, and get people on the go and help people establish themselves. We've got now a new trade partner program that we're launching where we're actually giving a majority split. It's almost like 100% split to our agent that would be joining us. So we just give him the framework, the infrastructure. They go out there, we teach them how to sell property, we teach them how to rent property, we teach them how to auction property, and they go out there and they earn their living. And, we know the challenges that we have in our country at the moment. Aside from load shedding, there's deeper challenges.
Yes,
we've got
social, economic
40-50% of our country is unemployed. We know that public sector cannot create jobs for everybody. We know that everybody, or we know that South Africans wanting to leave our country and every other nation throughout the world wanting to come to South Africa. The sad thing is that everybody's got faith in South Africa except for South Africans.
That is true.
So,
That is
you know,
true.
we see the opportunity here. And, you know, through time of this negative doom and gloom and pessimism, we look for the opportunity. And again, I think, you know, there's a lot of opportunity here. You know, you're providing a roof over somebody's head. Everybody needs a roof over their head. It's a necessity.
They talk of Maslow's hierarchy. The basic is shelter.
Absolutely.
Right? The first aspect.
Yes.
And that's what you do.
The first thing you're going to do is you're going to pay your rental or you pay your bond. So again, whether you're taking a bond, another story. So I'm saying, you know, and there's always allied different business facets that are profitable in this business, not just selling homes. You can assist somebody with mortgage origination. It becomes an income generating facet. You can do rentals. It becomes an income generating facet. You can do rental management. It becomes an income generating facet. You can do commercial. It's an income generating facet. You do offices, you do industrial, you do retail, you do residential.
Element that also
absolutely, it's a whole world of services out there. I mean, it's so vast. The industry is worth 7 trillion rand. And talking about what we said early on, back in the day when we were talking about how many estate agents there were at the time, and it was a pessimistic mindset. Initially, there was 96,000 estate agents. We were then gone down to 20,000 estate agents. After COVID, we went down to 9,000 and odd estate agents in the country. So again, if there's so much more work to do, you got 9,000, now got to do job of 96,000 agents that were back in the day. So I'm saying there's so much more. And, you know, I have one thing about business that if you suck at selling service, you're out of business. You know, so, you know, for those that are passionate about people, passionate about service, passionate about business and making a profit, there's a world of opportunity out there. And we want to expose people to that. You know, we're not selfish about the idea. You know, often you have business people say, oh, you're doing something that's successful. Don't tell everybody what you're doing. And you often hear that in our community.
Yes,
Don't tell people what you're doing because everybody else will do it.
And we want scarcity mindset.
It's a scarcity mindset. And we're in an abundance mindset and say, listen to me a favor, there's so much more. We can make money. We can teach you how to make money. And you cannot swallow all the water in the ocean. You know, let's teach you and let's expose you to this. So this is the mindset that we've taken.
Wow. Wow. Didn't you find that absolutely inspiring? What came out for me very strongly again is that firstly, you go into an industry and you break a paradigm in an industry. You know, you sitting on that cutting edge, plugging away there, pushing, right? With a mindset that says, I want to totally transform this industry. And boy, have you done it. I mean, today, you know, you said you got into an industry where it was you know, predominantly white. Today, you see, I mean, when you take a run around the various areas, you're now seeing agents that have names from the non-white community. And in many ways, I think that is the work that was done by Yusuf and his team and inspired by his wife. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I know it is a bit of a sensitive issue for you and what you've been through, but just how you've dealt with it. And I think that's also quite a powerful lesson for our viewers immediately after the break. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, the show that's here to inspire you, to empower you, and to enlighten you. And we've had Yusuf Essa from Chopra, who has been blessing us with his insights. He is a man that left school, by the way, at the age of standard 8. He had this calling to be an entrepreneur, to go out, had a tough upbringing. He had his brother, older brother, that looked after the family, lived in a pretty struggled environment. Yet, I think what comes out very strongly for me is Yusuf's mindset and this absolute will and determination to succeed. Went through so many different businesses. And in 2007, inspired by his wife, Shazia, he started the business in an industry that was not very transformed, but went in there and challenged the paradigms. Started training non-white entrepreneur, agents to become entrepreneurs. And that in itself is such a powerful lesson for each one of us. Now, you touched on, and I want to just go into a little bit of that, your wife, Shazia. And she was the inspiration behind you starting up. I mean, she was the agent before you got into this business. And, you rode this last however many years, what's it like, 13, 14 years?
15 years.
15 years. And in last year, you had quite a challenge. So maybe just share that and how has this impacted you and maybe even driven you to where you are now?
Yusuf, obviously it's a very emotional subject. Shazia and I were together from the age of 14. She married me when I was stone broke. I could not even pay attention. Shazia had very traditional and old values, unlike many women today. She was hopelessly in love with me. And when we went through our struggles financially, she was with me through thick and thin. We worked in every business tirelessly. It's not just Chopra. When we were even in the cash and carry business, there were times we worked till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I would pack shelves till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning at month end. And she would drive a truck. We would go to the store. We would load shelves. We would unpack the truck. We would pack shelves with merchandise stock. And yeah, so we've been through the struggle together. And Shazia always believed that, I was becoming a glorified shopkeeper. And she mentioned to me, many times, you need to go either into insurance or you need to go into real estate. If you want, I'll start it off for you. Let's do it together. And so, out of nagging, a woman can nag at times. And she said, no, let me. I said, okay, do it. Friend of mine was in business at that time as a real estate agent. I asked him for better advice. He said, if she wants to do it, let her do it and see what happens. And to be honest with you, I never really took it seriously until she got involved in the business. And then you realized, being a businessman and an entrepreneur, and I was, always very strong marketing strength. I had a very strong, marketing has always been a forte for me. And I looked at it when she started as an agent and looked at the handicaps she had with the other agency that she was with. And, she used to come to me for advice. What do I do here? And I need adverts and I need advertising and I want to advertise on the dustbins and I need a full page advert. And these are stuff that came naturally to me, And then, we started initially with our own property portfolio. When I started Chopra, Shazia was still with another agency. I started Chopra as a rental company and we started using Chopra as to collect our own rentals with our little portfolio that we had started. We started buying residential property ourselves as investments. And then Chopra was looking after, it was our business looking after our own investments. Okay. And soon after that, I, approached Shazia's boss and I said, listen, she's going to be starting with me and I want to pay her out. I want to, let's negotiate with regard to the restraint of trade. We did a deal with them. She allowed us and relaxed the restraint of trade. Shazia joined me. And yeah, we started our brand and we, I realized that, advertising is very important. The quieter business gets, the more advertising you got to put out there.
This is true.
Many people feel advertising is an expense. I believe it's absolutely necessary in every business. I understand branding, many people don't understand branding so well. And I believe that you will only be successful when people can associate you with what you do. So when we started the Chopra thing, initially it was it was almost came across to our community as a joke. People used to mock at us a little bit, Oh, Chopra. And, when we started branding, Chopra, it's a new thing for our people. And everybody knows me. Choppy is my nickname and everybody found it there was a little bit of a pun in it. And it was a funny thing when we started. And then as the business started growing and we started, landing all these international property awards under our belt and accumulating all these accolades, that people started to look at us differently. And we started to now command respect, if you want to call it. And, you could see that the brand was building on an aggressive, we were growing like wildfire. We failed all the time. What you've seen from the outside and what it was from the inside was a total different story, even though we were accumulating all these accolades.
And you started on social media quite early, right?
Absolutely,
I
yeah. When we started, I think Facebook, back in the day, just started, to take a selfie was like a odd thing.
Yes.
You know, today it's a way of living. If you don't know how to take a selfie, you extinct. So, we started in, social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Snapchat, Instagram. And we started adopting all this technology, and, it was still for our mature communities, let's put it that way, still feel that, hey, be out of the eye, and what, there's a nazar thing, and, stay out of the eye, and people do bad eyes, and, and I questioned myself all the time. I said, there's always entrepreneurs like Richard Branson. I want to know how come he's got no nazar.
Yeah.
And those were the questions I had. And Shazza and I, we always have these conversations. But, you're putting us on the front page. We're on the front page of this magazine. I don't like it. And I said, Shaz, we don't have an option here. If you want to build this brand, this is what we got to do. And we had our faces on billboards on the highway, and, big billboards and advertising that we had to put out there in order to brand ourselves. I can remember one initiative, we had a 0% campaign, and I wore a wig as a clown.
Yeah.
And it was a 0% campaign that we did, and I was on the front page of the newspaper with a vuvuzela and a rainbow-colored wig. And, we did drastic things in order to grab attention. But we realized
the Richard Branson model, because that's what he...
So we went out there and we made a lot of noise. I remember, Yusuf, I'm not sure if you're going to remember. I know I met you at the Deepak Chopra, one of the Deepak Chopra conferences.
Yeah.
And I also met you at one of my very first conferences that I attended, which was with Robert Kiyosaki and Les Brown, was in 2011.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
I've been working on at that same conference, I bought a mentorship program from a guy called Raymond Aron, which cost me 60,000.
Yes, I know Raymond, yeah.
And, my entire story, entire business plan was I orchestrated the entire thing. The whole application was a science that we applied with regard to publishing the book. Initially was supposed to be glorified.
The book, right?
Correct.
So this is where you...
No, Jerry Roberts was the book. So we did the Blackout Books presentation, myself and my good friend Khalid Jessat.
Yeah.
And so we attended the Jerry Roberts workshop. I bought the Raymond Aron mentorship program. And we used to go to all the conferences. I remember bumping into you. I know, we used to meet Nizam Kala and a few of our guys, Jack Manak. And we used to always meet at all the conferences and went to all these conferences. I took lots of useful information which helped in our business. Also, back in the day, I used to be a Vodacom franchisee. So I had a few Vodashops. I implemented the entire Vodashop business model type of scenario, took an idea from there to implement in our Chopra franchise.
Brilliant.
So,
So the book you wrote is, what's the name of the book?
The book was called The Choppy Journey, and was my journey from hot dog vendor to property guru.
Wow. Okay.
I know it sounds a little bit of...
That book is available at...
It's available online. You can buy it on Amazon. It's on Amazon. I've made it live. We've actually discounted it to rock bottom because it's not about the money.
Yes.
We've achieved bestseller status, but it wasn't about making money out of the book. I still maintain that, I won't go and sell my book. If somebody wants it, even free of charge, no problem. If it can benefit somebody, that's the purpose.
Right.
Our purpose is there to help people and, help them prosper. So, it's not about making money out of the book. So even though we achieved the bestseller status, I'm grateful. Almighty Allah has blessed us. The intention was different.
Yes.
We put purpose before the profit.
Good. Yes. I think that comes out very strongly. Is this purpose before the profit? Yes, of course, you have to survive. The profit is important, but when there's a higher calling, and I think that's what the purpose is, right? And just as a side, for those that maybe are lost in terms of finding that purpose, how do you then find that purpose? How do you know that this is my purpose? You know what I mean? Did you think, okay, let me ask it another way. Did you think many years back that you would be in property when you were a youngster starting up this whole entrepreneurial journey? Absolutely not.
And forget what I thought. I think what people thought about me, I almost believed them. People thought you're a failure, you're good for nothing. And I think part of what makes me feel comfortable to talk to you today and be on screen and talk to the audience is I've been there. And when you down and out, it's a difficult place to be. And again, many of us go through it from time to time. Even the most successful people, you're never always on the top. You can go through, those patterns in business as well, that, you having Christmas all of a sudden, and then, you got challenged, because if COVID taught us anything, it taught us a lot of manners as business people. I lost a lot of money in 2020. It was a bad year for all of us. It's 7 months.
And then
in our industry.
you lose Shazia in 2021.
In 2021 was a whole different change to my entire life.
And how is that? I'm just intrigued. How is that? How have you? I mean, I hear you. Obviously it's very emotional. This is your lifelong partner, right? Somebody that you knew at the age of 14, that you did so much with. Right, you have 3 beautiful kids, 3 sons, whom you've gotten 2 married already, but how have you dealt with that? I mean, many people will break with something like that, right? It would put them in a depression. They'll go into a negative spiral. But there's something about you. I just like to, I think for the viewers and myself as well, just to understand.
I think, Yusuf, a lot of the way I've survived it, I have to attribute a lot to my family, the support structure from my family, my friends. We lost in our family, we had quite a few funerals. I lost my mum on the 11th of August 2019. I'm the baby of the house. It was a big thing for me, put me into depression. And then, thought that was bad, and didn't realize losing Shazia was like almost, losing everything. She was an anchor to me. But I know that, she's at peace. I know that I find solace in knowing, sometimes you come home to an empty home. I find solace in knowing that she's at peace and away from the discomfort of this world. I know, Shazia was sick. Aside from the COVID, she battled. And, I think it's given me also a different outlook at life. When you chasing this life of abundance and materialistic wealth sometimes, and we just got to a point where we were ready to retire, or get to a point where we could take it a little bit easier. Kids are gone big. There's no more pushing prams, no more changing napkins.
That empty nest kind of story.
Yeah, empty nest story. And we were, thinking of retiring on the 15th of Feb. We were thinking of moving to Cape Town, taking our little one. He was going to go to campus there. And 6th of Feb, we all tested positive, and So
Allah has His own plans. Yes.
Absolutely, we think we're in control. We actually not, So you just submit to Allah's will, and you just got to carry on. I have one way of looking at it. None of us are making it out of here alive.
That's true. Hey.
So I think we all have got we all have got a purpose, and I think our work is not done. I think Shazia's work was done. Part of it might have been to be here for me.
Yes.
So Allah grant the Jannatul Firdaus, but we still have a lot to be grateful for. I've got 3 amazing kids. We've got a great family. I've got lots of support structure. I've got a great community. We've got great friends. And, Allah is great. So, we have a lot to be grateful for. And I get up every day with an attitude of gratitude. I miss her a lot. But the show goes on.
Yes, that's so powerful, Yusuf. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I could feel the emotion, of course. But, you say such powerful things. And I think this is, again, lessons for so many of us, that there will always be challenges. There's always be negatives. I mean, I can't even imagine, losing a loved one. And this is somebody that's so significant. I can just imagine for the kids as well, and so on. But yet, you have to be strong. And I think what comes out again for me is this old traditional values that are so powerful, and that of being a strong man and being a provider, and that is I think maybe the crux and the purpose, you know, and why you impact so many. So we've come to, on that quite somber yet quite inspiring moment, we've come to the end of this segment. When we come back, we'll come back to the last segment. What I want to understand is now where to for Chopra. You were looking at retiring, Yusuf. Where are you? Where's the next journey for Chopra and the Yusuf Essa journey? Immediately after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, where we inspire, empower, and enlighten you. And we get down to some of the real stories behind the success and the impact that our influencers make. And we have been intrigued in this last 3 segments by Yusuf Essa of the Chopra real estate entity, a business that was started in 2007, a real success. And again, want to give a lot of accolade, Yusuf, to sharing his story. A really inspiring story. Somebody that grew up in a struggled environment, made a success and a global. I mean, Yusuf, I believe you headed up the international real estate board, right? At one stage. Is that still?
I served my term until I think May last year.
Okay.
As the president for the International Real Estate Federation.
Wow.
I was on a 3-year term with them, and then we also served as a president for Ritasa as well. So yeah, Alhamdulillah, you know, we've managed to be fortunate to be able to serve, you know, on those organizations too.
So we have a few minutes of this last segment of the show left, and I think let's focus on where to from here for you as Yusuf, as a fam now looking after the 3 boys. I know 2 are married. Where to from here? Where to for Chopra? At one stage, you know, you were saying you were looking at retiring. Is this has also, this last period reignited you to take Chopra maybe on another level? And then also some lessons then and opportunities also for our viewers, right? Maybe those that want to get into real estate, youngsters, maybe people that might have lost their jobs and want to get into real estate. Is this an industry that is lucrative for others that want to get involved, or those that are want to invest in real estate? You know, advice that you can give them. I'll leave that to you for this last period, you know, to share your insights.
Okay, so Yusuf, thank you for that. Let me start by saying, obviously, we were in a different mindset until April last year. It's been a whole different ballgame. You know, you have couple goals, and you have lots of dreams and aspirations as a human being, as a married, as a husband, as a man of the house. And you know, you want to eventually be in a situation where you can take it easy. But after losing Shazia, I think I buried myself in my work as a coping mechanism, and made the business even bigger. So where we were, thinking of maybe taking it a little bit easy, I've opened up 2 new branches.
Wow.
We opened up Haratis just before Shazia passed away. And, that went into within the lockdown period. And it became a very lucrative business in Hartbeespoort Dam.
Right.
We opened
That's a growing area.
Yeah, we opened in Sandton. We now with a brand new mega office in KZN. We're looking at pursuing presence in Cape Town, from an office perspective. We are launching a new One Max franchise, which allows all estate agents throughout the country, existing estate agents as well as new agents, the opportunity to be able to team up with us as a brand and co-brand with us. So franchise opportunities where we can give them up to 100% commission split to their benefit, and just take a basic minimum royalty to be able to get them up and going. And the reason we're doing this is we want to reduce the barrier to entry for everybody. You know, back in the day, somebody wanted to buy a franchise, you've got to invest 200,000 rand or 300,000 rand or 500,000 rand in a franchise. Right now, we've reduced all the barrier to entry. At the moment, our newest franchise offering is going to be free of a once-off franchise fee. It'll be just a royalty every month, where we offering a sort of a royalty as a desk fee as support.
So this is for existing real estate agents?
Existing real estate agents, as well as ones that want to come and make their entree or debut in real estate. And so for anybody wanted to get involved in the industry, we'll teach them the business.
You then help them through the whole process.
So on my Academy of Learning, the Chopra Academy of Learning, I run a program called Become a Property Guru. And I think, you know, the strategy is, when I launched the book, The Choppy Journey from Hot Dog Vendor to Property Guru, we were driving on the property guru scenario, because I was branding myself and profiling myself in that way. So I launched a signature program called Become a Property Guru, where anybody that wanted to make their entree or debut in real estate, we gave them an opportunity to attend this induction training program and, you know, offer the 10 modules of training from, you know, introduction to real estate marketing, selling skills, negotiating skills, closing the deal, the legal processes, the documentation, the registration process, selling a building package, goal setting. And we covered the entire thing, negotiation skills. So, you know, anybody that wanted to attend our workshop for the 2-day workshop, it used to initially be a 5-day workshop. I compressed it and made it a 2-day intensive. So it goes from 8 to 5, you know, and 2 days. We normally do it the last Wednesday and Thursday of every month. It used to be just in Gauteng. Now we're doing it in KZN. I plan rolling it out now in the new year in Cape Town, and doing a national roadshow where we can have 2 days of the week in every different area.
So if anybody wants to find out more about it, they can
Absolutely.
go to...
If anybody wants to attend our workshop or register and become an estate agent, wants help with the internship, they've got to go through the normal, you know, internship as an intern. They're
just going to your website.
Absolutely. They can go to our website. It's www.choprop.com.
Right.
And our helpline is 0861 Choprop. That's 0861 246 7767.
Okay, so the details will be at the bottom of the screen, you know, and on our Inspirate page as well. When we put up, you know, the details, we'll have that details as well. Yusuf, we could have continued, you know, more. I know you, and I put that challenge to you as well from a Hilaal TV perspective, is that, you know, we'd like you on more on, maybe have your own show as well. You know, who knows? Maybe that's something that we can bring, you know, maybe give advice on the property industry, real estate industry. But just some parting words. We've come, just a few seconds left.
Parting words, I'd like to say, Yusuf, if anybody's interested in getting involved in real estate, they're welcome to contact my office. We'll show them the ropes. You know, we can show them from, you know, from basic right to advanced, and help them through the entire process. Mentor them through the mentorship program as well.
So look, that's the challenge that Yusuf is giving to each one of you out there. If that's, you know, whatever, maybe you have lost your job, or maybe you're in property and you need to get this reigniting of wherever you are, or somebody that wants to get into it, here's an opportunity. Here's a real entrepreneurial opportunity to make a difference in our country. Right?
And it won't be limited to that too. If somebody wants to invest in property, how to invest, somebody needs assistance with mortgage origination, what to buy, what not to buy, sectional title, full title, share block, commercial, whatever sort of advice people would need. I mean, we're open to that. Wherever we could be, you know, of service, with the greatest of pleasure.
Again, there's it for our viewers, those that want to get into it, those are already in the industry, that are investing and need further advice. This is our property guru, Yusuf Essa. A most intriguing story. What a story. Thank you, Yusuf, for sharing your time out. I know you're a busy man. And thank you for coming out and just being open and vulnerable. And I think that's what it's about. Everyone wants to know the story behind the success. And therein lies the pearls of wisdom for each one of us. On that note, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.